Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Wiggly Field here in Schofield as we're live for our 2023 High School Coaches Football Show. My name's Jason Zaleski. Got a full lineup of high school football coaches for you tonight. Matt Johnson, Tyler Kramer, Kyle Stoffel, Tim Strelo, and Paul Mickelig will be on the hammer later tonight here at Wiggly Field. Come on down. Can't sit here, but you can sit back there and wave to us. But come on down. Great pizza, wings, burgers, everything here at Wiggly Field. And we will get things started. As I mentioned just a minute ago, Wausau West head football coach Matt Johnson. Coach, thanks for being here. Before we get started talking about a little bit of last year's team and then starting to preview this year's squad, just remind our audience, how many years you've been coaching football and what keeps you coming back every year?
This is year 2 as head coach at Wausau West. I spent the previous 10 as offensive coordinator, and then I've actually kind of made my way up. I coached 8th grade football at John Muir, and then moved up to the JV, and then kind of worked my way all the way up. So I think this is year 17 for me. Just I'm getting old. For a long time I was kind of the new guy or the young guy, and I'm definitely not the case anymore. But what keeps me coming back? I think the kids are fun. I know that's an easy answer, but the kids are fun to be around, and every group is just a little bit different, and the dynamic that you have and the dynamic that you feel on the team. I joked about getting older, and those kids certainly keep you young with their sense of humor and their enjoyment of what they're doing. So I think at the end of the day, it's just that. It's just being with those guys outside of the 7 to 3 of the building.
So recap last year, just for a few minutes. You had what I thought was a successful season. Obviously, you start any year, and we'll talk about this here in a minute, but you and the guys agree on some goals for the season. I would say you accomplished some of those. Conference championship along the way. You host a home playoff game. You win a home playoff game. Marshfield got you, in the last minute or so, in kind of a wacky game as your only loss in the regular season. Just talk about last year and maybe some of the memories along the way and what I thought was a good season for you last year.
Yeah, it was a very good season for us, and obviously, it was our 3rd conference championship in school history. So we're still building our legacy and our program a little bit, and that was a really good step forward. But getting off on the right foot. One of my favorite memories was Vince Hans' first throw of his career was a touchdown pass. That was a really fun one just to get things started and a ton of energy there. But getting Wisconsin Rapids that first time and then coming back in the playoffs stands out. They're a well coached. We really respect Rapids, so that was a big one for us. The way we finished against DC Everest, putting it together against our crosstown rival was another great memory. But obviously, that Marshall one's going to hang out there with us. We did some things wrong in that one that we hope to correct. And again, really good football team, really good player, making a really good play at the end of that one in Trevor Femmel. So that one, you talk about the memories. That's certainly one of them. And then running into a buzzsaw with Bayport, and that's kind of been the measuring stick now leading to this year. Like, how do we get past a situation like that? How do we beat a team like that? Last year we figured out how to beat some of those other teams. We're going to have to figure that out again, but we want to kind of keep taking steps forward and be able to handle a team like Bayport. So that's what we're working towards.
Later on in the show, we might mention some names, but for this next question, I just think about the group of seniors that you had last year and what they meant to your program. How can you put that into words, what those guys meant as they left your program? Yeah,
I think those guys kind of helped establish our identity a little bit. We want to be a tough, physical football team, and I think those guys that we had embraced that, through from receivers to linemen, and we had some big dudes up there, and Wausau West hasn't always been known as a team that could be physical and win in the trenches, and I thought those guys with their work in the weight room and their work and then their attitude towards it helped us establish the fact that, we can be a physical running team and we can really wear some people down and lean on some people. And we kind of always talked about just, being a boxer in a fight and keep throwing punches until you can throw the knockout. And those guys were definitely willing to fight until that happened.
Let's move to preview this year's team just a bit. He had scrimmage just a few days ago. What did you learn in your scrimmage?
Well, we learned that we remember all our plays, all our assignments. So no, we learned that we kind of confirmed what we thought we have. We have some playmakers. We have some skilled guys. We really held back on reps. And the most important thing is we stayed healthy through the scrimmage. That's key number one. But we settled some position battles. We kind of had a quarterback battle through camp, and both guys did a really nice job. But we were able to kind of do that, and some other positions. That's what it was about. We kind of came into the scrimmage telling the kids that goal number one is to figure out who we are, who we have, figure out the rest of these battles that we've had through camp and positions. So, we got to practice this week. We kind of had our depth chart set, and we feel like we're ready to, take our top 11 or top 22 or, both sides of the ball and move forward that way. So kind of learned who we are is what I would say.
Talked about quarterback, getting that settled at least coming into week one. Tell us about some of the other, I call it training camp, but practice battles and those camp battles that you've had in these first couple weeks, whether it's defense, offense, or D-line, O-line. How would you kind of categorize or think about some of those battles you've had in the last 2.5 weeks?
Yeah, just we have a couple positions that we're pretty deep at, and we have some pretty decent football players. So it's how can you get those guys to a new position or a different position, or how you're rotating here, or how do you get some of these kids on the field, which is a nice problem to have. We have some nice receivers that maybe won't get as much time as what they'd get on a team a couple years ago for us. Got some decent depth behind at our running back position, and they're not going to get a lot of carries with the guy that we have in front of them. So, just moving some of those guys around and finding some spots to backfill them and say, they're one of our best 10, 15, 20 players. We got to figure out a way to get them on the field. And I think those are the battles that were really fun to have and fun to fight through at camp. And the kids embraced that and worked really hard. And we'll see if we got it right.
I'll give you a chance now to maybe mention one of those names. Let's talk about your running game and how impactful and really powerful it is. Just kind of go through your expectations for the run game this year.
Yeah, our whole offense kind of runs through Ray Reineck, who's our returning tailback, ran for 2,100 plus yards last year, and there's no doubt about him. We line him up on the side of the quarterback, and we hand him the ball a ton, and you know where he's going, and you know what you have to stop, and Ray's pretty dynamic, and that sets up our play action, sets up our counter game with our quarterback running the football a little bit. So we don't have a lot of secrets in what we do, but when you got a guy like that, a horse like that, it's pretty easy to still have a little success. So.
Oftentimes in the beginning of the season, or maybe those first couple weeks of practice, it's often said, well, our defense is ahead of our offense. Maybe with the running game you have, maybe that's not the case for you, but tell us about that a little bit and some of the expectations early on, or what you've seen so far in the last 2.5 weeks in that way.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know if I can say one or the other is ahead. I think this is about the third year that we've been running this defense that we're running. So defensively, we feel like we're a little bit ahead of where we've been. We kind of just compare it to years past rather than each other. So we feel like we're a little ahead of where we've been defensively, just in knowledge and how they move and where to line up and all that kind of thing. And offensively, same deal. We've kind of been using the same terminology and the same sets and the same. So we've been able to kind of take a step forward, even through contact days. Kids are running stuff that maybe we weren't running until like week two of camp last year. So we feel like we were a little bit ahead in both regards, offense and defensively. And that's just in knowledge-wise and them knowing what they're doing. We'll see if that relates to the on-field play or not. But we feel good about where we were on both sides of the ball right now.
I mentioned the senior group that left you last year, now juniors, now seniors this year. What are your expectations of them? And you can even talk about classroom a little bit too, but what are your expectations of them? Are they a coach on the field, or are they better in the locker room? What do you want out of those guys?
Our seniors wear white jerseys at practice. Everybody else wears gold jerseys. And number one, we just want those white jerseys to be an example of what we want everyone else on the football field to do. So when a freshman looks over and they see a white jersey going to get water, that white jersey should be jogging, and then they know that they should be jogging. We ask the seniors to, you guys establish, it's your team. What do you want the field to be? What do you want this to be around here? What do you want the locker room to be? What do you want, how do you want the field to be out here? Do you want this to be just, coaches yelling and screaming, or do you want to bring the energy? So we challenge them to set the tone, bring the energy, bring the fire. If they don't like something that's happening, we ask them to step up and say something about it. And they figure out a way. They learn that as kids that, hey, I need that guy to do something. I'm going to go tell him face to face, I need this to happen. And that's a pretty good life lesson and a pretty good way to do it. But I feel like if they've made it to their senior year in our football program, our hope is, like you mentioned the classroom, our hope is they've got that piece of it figured out. They've made it through. We've talked to them enough about the importance of being a student, being an athlete, being a leader, that when they make it to our senior, not all of them make it. We start out with 50 freshmen and we have 20 of them now. So part of that thing is like they've established the ability to do those things, take care of those things that are important to being a good human being.
Tell us about your coaching staff this year.
Yeah. Coaching staff is an ever-evolving thing this year, but we return our defensive coordinator, Tim Wimmer. He's been around Wausau West for about 30 years now. So it's really nice to kind of be able to step back and let Tim run the defense. He's assisted by our head track coach Vince Spratty, Neil Mantor, and then Jake Whalen, who was a former player of ours as well, and then played at Wisconsin. We were able to get Jake back. So those guys really do a nice job on the defensive side of the ball. And then offensively, I run the offense with the assistance of Josh Nowinski, who's a longtime offensive line coach for us, and Adam Romansky, and you mentioned, yeah, you start listing names and you forget people. Adam and Mike Trues and Tim Freiberg, good friend of mine. Tim, sorry buddy, helps with our receivers and stuff too. So we've got a really comfortable, good staff. We've lost a couple at the freshman level with guys getting different jobs and stuff like that. So and never a dull moment trying to figure it out and put together a staff. But we got good people around these kids to help guide them this year. So.
Next one, I'm going to ask you about your conference a little bit. I know you got a couple of coaches in conference that are listening here. There's a big audience listening online, so they're all going to hear what you say anyway, whether they're sitting in here or not. So maybe tell us about the conference. We'll talk about your realignment maybe here in just a little bit if we have time, but how do you kind of see your conference year over year, including what's coming up this year?
I see our conference, I have a lot of respect for the other teams in our conference. I don't think there's a single game on our schedule that we feel like we walk into and we're the favorite, or we should win, or we have to. Every single week's a battle, and I really do truly mean that, because I don't think we've ever been good enough, or we're good enough this year to just walk out on the field and beat somebody. And as soon as you have the mentality, you're beat anyway. So I think we've got a lot of good teams. I mentioned until somebody knocks off Rapids, they're always at the top. And Marshfield, I think points going to be improved. It's really exciting to see East back playing, and I know Coach Kramer's doing a good job getting those guys ready to go, and that's not going to be an easy schedule. Hortonville has a ton of talent on the defensive side of the ball with Division I prospects all over the place and stuff. So they were close to breaking through in a lot of games. So every week's going to be tough for us, and we just got to be ready to go every week.
This week, you are planning for Superior. It's a team that you've seen, including last year. So you've got a little bit of tape. Tell us, without giving away the game plan, obviously, but how do you go about planning for a week one opponent? They haven't taken the field yet this year, so there'll be some differences, but how do you go about that plan?
Yeah, scrimmage film is really big, seeing them, and then obviously we saw them week 1 last year, so they had 8 weeks of football to improve and get better. So, check out a little bit of their late season film and seeing what they're doing. They made some changes to how they do things. And then personnel-wise, it's hard because they don't have numbers at the scrimmage, and they don't. Yeah. So we focus schematically right now about what they do on offense, what they do at defense, and just try to take that into our practice, obviously. But it's a little bit different, I think, week 1 than week 2. As soon as you get some actual film and start to get some stats and some things that you can kind of start to see who emerges as the players, it's easier. But we're not sure what Superior is. We know what they are, and we know they're a really good football program that had a little bit of a tough year last year, but we expect they're really well coached, and we expect them to give us a really good battle on Friday night.
A game like that, then I would suppose, we talked about your coaching staff, you're going to lean on them to help you during the game and maybe even at halftime figure some things out that you didn't know going in.
Yes, absolutely. They're well prepared, so they're always well prepared. Our defensive staff, especially, they know what Superior is. They have done a nice job scouting other things and just kind of the what ifs, like, hey, they do this, but this also has the feel of it could be this or it could be this. So they do a really good job of preparing the kids for the things that we may not see on film as well. So we definitely lean on them. You can't, they do a nice job.
Obviously, you go out to win every game. Your non-conference games at Superior, then home to De Pere. It could have been in the past that maybe we could take our lumps. Maybe if we go 1-1, we're going to be okay. But with computerized seating now, a little more pressure to win, especially in those non-conference games. What kind of importance do you put on getting out to a fast start this season?
I know this is, again, kind of a cliche comment. We're really focused on going 1-0. Like, if we can't go 1-0, then we can't figure out a way to go 2-0. So, our focus is on Superior. It's certainly important to win every game. I was really angry at you when you put out your projected seeds last year and had us, I think, where you had us, and then you were dead right. And then I was mad at the WIAA. But yeah, it's certainly important to win as many games as you can, and it's tough. And then you kind of have to play the game of hoping other people beat other people, and that becomes a better win for you. That's like a little college basketball-ish and college football-ish and stuff too. So just going 1-0 though, and then winning every game possible is obviously what the goal is. So
yeah, that's right. Zaleski Sports VIPs know that we cracked that code 2 years ago. So we get it right for football, basketball, softball, baseball. Yeah, and Mike is Mike's big in it.
I take back my anger. I take back my anger at you guys. I'm sorry.
Well, it's math, Coach. It's just math. It's nothing personal ever. It's just math in that way. Community, as we begin to finish up here, community support. Obviously, people need to go out and they need to cheer you guys on in person, whether it's home, in the road. Just maybe kind of talk to us, advertise your team to the people that are out there that they need to come support these guys.
Yeah, I think we just have a really good group of human beings, and I think they will represent Wausau West in a positive way. We talk about, the importance of being a good person, because people don't want to come watch a bunch of guys on the field that act like jerks and act like everything else. So, be proud of the product you put on the field and the person that you are. And I think we have that. I think we have quality kids that I think when you're standing in the stands, or sitting in the stands, watching, you can, whether you're an alumni, a parent, a teacher, I think you can be proud of the guys in blue and gold and come support those guys.
And then lastly, just talk about the environment at Tom Field. You share that field with another team. Just talk about that environment and maybe why that's a home field advantage for your guys.
I think we're one of the only teams still that play on grass. It's when Tom Field in the fall, there's not a real prettier setting that we go to, at least, and everybody that kind of comes visit. I know everybody you have your turf versus grass debates, but it looks pretty nice there, and I don't know that that's any sort of advantage, but it's an old stadium. It does have a lot of history. We do like sharing it with the East. We'll be sharing it in a different way here in a couple years, just the ability to be home and be in that home locker room, I think, is important for us.
Yeah, I look at your schedule. I don't see any road games on grass, so enjoy for sure.
I think we're the only team we ever see that plays on.
I think so too.
Except for East, obviously, but same field. Yeah,
you're a dying breed for sure.
We are.
Wausau West head football coach Matt Johnson, best of luck this year, and thanks for stopping by.
Appreciate it.
Guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We've got Wausau East, Tyler Kramer. We'll talk about Wausau East Lumberjacks football right after this on Zaleski Sports.
Thank you for helping Abbey Bank become the most highly recommended community bank.
Thank you to all of our customers for helping us be successful.
Thank you for putting your trust in us.
Thank you for your loyalty.
Thank you for helping us support our communities.
We are grateful for customers like you.
Thank you to all of our customers. We hope to see you soon.
Are you looking for a great career opportunity with increased income potential and benefits? Come join the local Auto Select team of dedicated auto service professionals. If you're an experienced auto service advisor, technician, or tire lube tech, Auto Select could be a great fit for you. Auto Select's team of dedicated and experienced service advisors exceed expectations for auto repair and service. Auto Select is the area's best kept secret for tires. We even offer free tire rotations every 6,000 miles with every tire purchase. Go to AutoSelectOnline.com for locations near you.
Central Wisconsin Glass is Central Wisconsin's choice for your next new or remodeled shower and bathroom. The experts at Central Wisconsin Glass will effortlessly guide you through the design and installation process. Have the elegant and modern shower and bathroom you've been looking for. Call Central Wisconsin Glass at 715-387-8010. That's 715-387-8010. And Central Wisconsin Glass on Facebook for your residential, commercial, and vehicle glass needs.
Hi, this is Van Patrick Oates from Rapids Awards and More. People ask, what is the more part of Awards and More? Well, that means that we're more than just an award store. We engrave glass, wood, plastic, guns, Yeti cups, medals, knives, and so much more. We're located on the web at awardsandmore.us. And if you're in the Wisconsin Rapids area, visit our physical store at 1210 Pepper Avenue or check us out on Facebook. Rapids Awards and More than just awards.
Bauer & Feind has been based in Marshfield since 1955. And if you're in business that long, you're obviously doing many things right. We always focus on selling world-class products, backing it up with world-class customer support.
Working with Bauer & Feind Business Technologies has been a pleasure. We have staff on call that we can call if we ever have issues, and the printer usability has been really easy, user-friendly.
Give us a call, visit our website. We'd be happy to come in, talk to you. Maybe there's a way we can help you save some money and work more efficiently.
At the Granite Shop, we take great pride in what we do. We offer high-quality natural stone granite as well as a huge selection of man-made stone. With full slabs as well as a variety of partial remnants, you'll have no problem finding the stone that was meant for you. Our high-end, high-quality granite, quartz, and marble is perfect for any kitchen, bathroom, or remodel need. We are locally owned and operated on County Road C near Stratford. We service all of Wisconsin.
Welcome back to Wiggly Field in our 2023 High School Football Coaches Show. Again, Jason Zaleski here. Wiggly Field, we're seeing people start to filter in. They've got outdoor volleyball tonight, so come check out volleyball outside. And, of course, check out Wiggly Field all week long for all their food specials. Friday night fish fry, burgers. We've got a couple pizzas sitting over there that we get to eat anyway. But homemade pizza here and a full menu of stuff at Wiggly Field in Schofield, right? We're in Schofield, right? Yeah, right here in Schofield. As I turn to Wausau East football coach Tyler Kramer, congratulations on the job.
Thank
I guess
you. I appreciate it.
We'll start there. All right, well, let's just talk about your coaching career a little bit. Just tell us about your football history.
So I graduated from East in 2017. I started coaching there the season of 2018. So I was 1 year gap, and then I came in as a volunteer freshman coach. Kind of the ropes that everybody goes through, coach at younger ages for a couple years. Was moved up as the O-line coach for varsity right before our COVID season, so that was fun.
Yeah.
So I've been coaching. This will be my 6th year coaching. Last year I was an interim head coach after we had some confusion with how all that went down, and then I got the head coach job here in March.
Yeah. Okay. What is it about coaching? You're a former player, but what is it about coaching that makes you want to be a coach?
I think everybody will tell you when you ask this question, it's about the kids. Yeah. We have such a fun group, and you never think your next group's going to be as fun as the last, but every year you just get those new personalities in, and seeing them grow into good people and awesome football players and how all that goes, it just keeps me going.
So let's talk about the last few years of Wausau East football. It's been hit or miss. I guess that's the best I could say about it. And it goes back to 2020 and just some weird times then. So just catch us up on maybe the last few years and how we got from there to here.
So the one big thing I talk about is just coaching changes. We've had 7 head coaches in 12 years, which is not a recipe for success. Yeah. Then going into the COVID year with a brand new head coach was tough on everybody. And I know that was tough for teams all across the state. But for us being low numbers like we have been historically, at least in recent years anyways, it was really tough on us. The next year having a lot of kids from that junior class quit. So we went to 8-man, which nothing against 8-man, is just a school our size should not be playing 8-man football. And those kids were tough to get back out, so we ended up playing junior varsity last year. Our varsity reserve, where we'd let other teams bring down some older kids because we had a lot of hefty junior class, and then back to varsity this year.
Yeah, okay. So, it's taken some work to get to this point.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess let's talk about then day one of practice or equipment handout day. Tell us how that went.
Good. Just getting, even with coaching changes we've had and new assistants, getting everybody up to speed. I tell people it's harder to coach coaches than it is to coach kids because everybody has an idea of how things should go, but we've had such a fun group of coaches with us that are really involved, a young coaching staff, or the head basketball coach at East, Dan Garrett's my quarterbacks coach, and he's the oldest coach on the staff, and he's only, I believe he's 40.
Yeah,
so,
young guy.
Yeah. But having that experience with everybody and just learning together has been great for us. And day one, interesting, but we're getting there. We're really getting there.
Yeah, I would imagine there had to be maybe some relief or just some joy in being in the spot that you're in now. How have the kids embraced that?
They loved it. So being a 24-year-old, and I kind of got the opportunity as an assistant to be a fun assistant with O-line, and it's an interesting position. You usually get a lot of characters, and being able to relate to the kids in a different way, just being closer in age, and also going to East, I went through a lot of the same things that they did, and being in a program that wasn't successful when I was there either. We've all gone through some tough stuff, and they kind of joked around when we were looking for a new head coach that it'd be funny if I got the job. just because it was something that we didn't really think about, and it all kind of hit us at different times, but it's worked out, and the kids have really embraced it, and we've had a good time with it.
And there's some more change coming. So JV to varsity now this year. So you'll Valley Football Association this year. Great Northern Conference next year, and maybe at some point in the next couple of years, a combination of the high school and then kids playing football together. What's a strategy for you over these next couple of years to keep the numbers good and to keep the kids interested, knowing that there's still some turbulence ahead?
Yeah. So number one, and I talked about this since day one when I got the job of interim last year, just keeping football fun. Yeah. Kids don't play football just to be amazing at football, and some kids are more driven by that, but high school sports are about fun at the end of the day, and if you're not having fun with it and everybody's stressed out every day, you're not going to keep kids out. And that's kind of what we've had with the downs that we've had. It got to a point where everybody's burned down and it's not fun anymore, and you lose kids off of that. So keeping it fun, keeping it fresh, making sure the coaches are having a good time as well, where we turn on and are serious at a lot of times, but sometimes we can let go a little bit and just enjoy the ride as we're going.
Yeah. Tell us about numbers this year.
So we're excited that we're able to field 3 teams.
Yeah, excellent.
So we should be, I think from sophomore to senior, we're sitting close to 60 right now, and then freshmen we have higher numbers, and I think we're usually at about 20. We're at about 30 right now, which is awesome for freshmen.
Yeah.
So really being able to field the 3 teams was a huge thing for us. That was our goal day one. Was this year being able to field a JV as well as a varsity.
Yeah.
Was huge for us, and we have some kids that can make a lot of impact from those younger ages, and keeping those kids out was awesome.
Had scrimmage a few days ago. Tell us about your impressions of your team after the scrimmage.
Fast. We're a fast team. Lacks size a little bit in some spots, but it's funny. I talk about at East, when we get big kids, but they're skinny kids. So we get the fast, tall kids. Yeah. And sometimes you want a kid like Westhead, like a Brant Rice, that's just a mauler. But they all did well. I mean, we played a lot of lower division, like really good teams, and we competed with everybody, and that was my goal with it, was just go out there and compete and show what we can do. And settling a few competitions that we had where we've had some newcomers going back to varsity, kids got more interested and joined in with us, and some of those kids really showed out for us, and they've established a starting position coming in this week.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of those position battles or camp battles that have happened. My advice is you can name names if you want, but once you start, if you miss some, that's on you. I won't be able to help you out there, but tell us about some of those camp battles, and again, whether it's running backs versus linebackers or O-line, D-line. Tell us how that has kind of progressed over the last 2.5 weeks.
So one we focused on is like our Z position, so a slot receiver. We had a new kid who's a basketball player, awesome kid. Isaac Roswadowski battled for a position, and he played football when he was younger, and it was a hard one to convince to come back out.
Okay.
But he ended up texting me right before contact days and asked, do I need cleats tomorrow? Yeah. And I didn't even know he was playing, but he's done super well and showed us in the scrimmage that he belongs to that position. Extremely good athlete. At the line, we had some sophomores really show us that they could play. Kids that got into the weight room, a kid like Logan Glavinsky just got named a captain this year for the first time and just showing out. Lifts more than a lot of the senior O-linemen do, just because he's just pounded it. I love seeing that, and those 2 battles, so him at guard and then Isaac at Z, were our 2 big ones. And a lot of those kids we only had 1 senior last year, so we kept 21 out of 22 starters, and understanding that those kids have a leg up on everybody else, but at the same time going to varsity, nobody's owed anything. Yeah. We're not entitled to a position. So.
Tell us about the senior group this year and your expectations of them. Are they coaches on the field? Are they the speech guys? Or what do you expect of them this year?
So what I tell them all the time, and day one we had a big conversation about this. You guys are my tone setters. So if we're lacking a little bit in spots, I tell them, okay, let's wrap up the intensity a little bit, and those sophomores and juniors really feed off of that. When my seniors are starting to go hard and they hit a little bit harder once we get into pads, those sophomores are like, okay, it's real now. Yeah. And we're going, and they've done a great job of that. They're a fun group, a lot of characters, a ton of characters. Being 24, I tell them, like, you guys make me older every day, like a lot older every day, but awesome group of kids to have. And that we've been lucky and blessed to keep that group. We haven't lost many kids out of that group since their freshman year. So.
I mentioned some turbulence ahead. You start the year 3 straight road games.
Yep.
So you're going to find out a lot about your guys' resilience and their ability to get back up after getting knocked back down. What are some of the strategies as you kind of think of, here's how we launch this thing this year?
So I love the challenge of going on the road, especially teams like Lakeland and Rhinelander that we haven't played much in recent history at least.
Yeah.
Being able to go there in a hostile environment when people, I mean, everybody's predicting us to go 8th in the conference. Is like, you guys play your game and show how competitive you can truly be. And they've taken that in stride, and the excitement we have for week 1 as a coaching staff and the kids just getting back to where we need to be has been incredible.
Tell us about the week of prep. So we're at Lakeland on Friday night, 7 o'clock kickoff. Wednesday practice tomorrow, and then Thursday. How do you begin to get your guys ready for their first game?
So Wednesday is a day that we call it our competition day. So depth charts come out on Wednesday for us every week, and they know where they're at, but depth charts are never solid.
Yeah.
So if you show me on Wednesday that you're beating out that guy in front of me, I'll change it on Thursday, I'll tell you that. But that's our true competition day. We're hitting, we're making sure that everything's in order at the same time during our team periods. And then Thursday, we do a situational walkthrough is what we call it. So put these kids in a lot of challenging positions and see where they go from there. And then Friday, just being ready for it.
Yeah. Tell us, begin to wrap up here. Got a couple minutes left. Community support, obviously a big deal. We want all the, not the moms and dads, they're going to be there, but the other people in the community out to fill those seats. Tell us about community support and why that's important to a high school student athlete.
So it's been awesome for us just having people finally interested. So I talk to people in the community, and some people, when I wear my East stuff, they're like, Wausau East football doesn't even have a team anymore. They're not even sure about that. But even with our JV games last year, we would have more people in the stands for that than we've had at a JV game in the past 10 years, even when I was playing there. So just building on a really positive program where they know that these coaches are there every day for these kids, and we're trying hard to get back to where we need to be, and we're finally making progress. But the community support's been huge.
A bunch of them are going to head up to Minocqua on Friday night to be there. End of the first quarter, forget what it says on the scoreboard. How will people know that things are going according to Coach Kramer's plan here in this game?
We compete. We're still out there hitting. No one's hanging their heads. We don't allow that. I don't want people throwing their arms up in the air. Dumb penalties. We don't allow unsportsmanlike. Anything that you can control, I don't want to see us step out of that line. And at the end of the day, I want to see smiles on their faces that whole game.
Yeah.
That they're really truly having fun the whole time.
Lastly, we'll let you off hook with this one. Tell us about your coaching staff this year.
So Kong Zhang is my defensive coordinator. He's been the one guy that stayed on the staff with me through the whole time, all this turbulence, and I'm so gracious to him that he has, because he's almost my opposite. He cools me down quite a bit. Dan Garrett's the head basketball coach. He's my quarterback coach and offensive coordinator, and he's one, being a head coach in the building, that gets to work with me as a new guy who doesn't have another football head coach in the building to learn the ropes a little bit. Has been amazing. New coaches at a lot of positions, especially freshmen. Dave Coonan was our old freshman head coach, and he just retired, and he was a tenured coach. He had been around for a long time, and his family's been around at Everest and a lot of different places. So losing him, but having Coach Blaskowski step up and being our freshman head coach is awesome. Different position coaches. We had Sean Wilson, who came up and coached with me last year, tight end coach, and D-line does a great job with the kids, and they just love him. Fun guy. Nathan Kramer is my brother, is our O-line coach, my twin brother, so the kids get a kick out of that one. Anthony Marcourt, one of our slot coaches. He was an awesome kick returner at East when I was in high school, so it was fun to kind of bring him back and get him in the fold. Coach Rivers is a guy that he came from Georgia, so he has a lot different view of football. Georgia football is a little different than Wisconsin football, but being able to get that edge. Super knowledgeable guy, and being a young guy, it's hard to bring great guys in there. My JV head coach, Brady Schmidt, he's one of those guys, you ask him to do something, he just does it right away. He's my JV head coach and wide receiver coach, and he's like our mentored offensive coordinator, where he just, everything me and Coach Garrett have to say, he just takes it in like a sponge. And then Jordan Shallow is my running backs coach, and then outside linebacker, he does an awesome job. I feel like I'm going to miss somebody, and I'm just thinking about that now. It's running through my head.
Sorry, they'll tell you later.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
No problem. Well, listen, Tyler Kramer, best of luck this year. We're so happy your Jacks are back on the field in 2023. Guys, we'll take a commercial break. Mosinese, Kyle Stoffel, coming up next on Zaleski Sports.
We said we're growing, and we are. Come join the Crystal Finishing family. We're looking for experienced industrial maintenance mechanics, CNC fabricators, all driver positions for our freight team, as well as skilled and general production. We know the importance of a work and life balance. Our shift options and flexible schedules set us apart. Our pay ranges from $17 to $43 per hour depending on your skill level. We're proud to be a family-owned company that is committed to our community, team members, and the growth of our business. Call or jump on our website to learn more.
Grassland Dairy Products is your match for an exciting new career today. Go to grassland.com to see the opportunities waiting for you. Browse through careers like CDL truck driver, shipping and receiving, line tech, quality assurance, forklift, maintenance tech, inventory associates, and more. Great compensation, weekly pay, and zero premium, company paid health, dental, and life. Apply now at grassland.com or in person at Grassland Dairy Products, Fairground Avenue, just south of Greenwood.
No interest in water sports? Biking not really your thing? Want to add some excitement to your camping trip? Need more fun in your life? Hit the trails with an ATV or side-by-side from Bill's Service Center. At Bill's, your passion is our passion, and you'll find your fun with the latest from Can-Am or Polaris off-road products. When you need more fun, you need Bill's.
Bill's Service Center, where the adventure begins.
Elite Auto Care is a family-owned business providing top-notch car care to the Schofield, Weston, and Wausau area. They deliver honest and professional automotive repair and maintenance services with quality ASE certified technicians that you can trust. Elite Auto Care offers the latest technology and is equipped to handle all major and minor repairs on both foreign and domestic vehicles. From general maintenance, air conditioning and brakes to exhaust, axle repair, tires, or just a simple oil change. Turn to Elite Auto Care, your local family-owned auto business on Schofield Avenue in Schofield.
I'm Jamie Schley. As your American Family Insurance agent, I'm looking out for what matters to you even when nothing is wrong. Give me a call or stop by our new office location and let's talk about your insurance needs today.
Culligan Water delivers. From your first call, to your first sip, to your first soak. Culligan, give us a tap. The only water that comes with a van.
Did you know you can start your 4-year degree locally and get the same college experience closer to home? From the moment you step onto our campus, we'll be there for you, supporting your dreams, saving you money, and giving you a well-rounded academic and social experience with student housing, clubs, sports, and leadership opportunities. With NTC's liberal arts transfer degree, you can start here and go anywhere, including guaranteed transfer to UW-Madison, North Central Technical College, transferability made easy.
Hey, welcome back to Wiggly Field here in Schofield as we continue our 2023 High School Coaches Football Show, and joined now by DC Everest Evergreens head coach Tim Strelo. Coach, before we get started, just remind our audience how many years you've been coaching football and what keeps you coming back every year.
Yep, so this is my 7th year as head football coach. Been coaching for 23 years in the Everest program. Was fortunate enough to play college football and play for Coach Steffenigan, so I'm an alumni to DC Everest, so very fortunate for that and to be a part of the program and just serve our kids in our community.
And then Hall of Famer, recent, you didn't think I would know about that, but yeah, tell us about your college playing days and then your recent induction into the Hall of Fame at North Dakota State.
Yeah, so I was very fortunate to receive a scholarship to go out to North Dakota State, play college football for 5 years. I was redshirted my first year and then ended up starting my last 4 years at wide receiver, kick returner, punt returner. And, I don't think I ever thought in a million years that you would be saying Hall of Fame with all the championship teams that NDSU's had and all the great players that have come through. And for me to be considered one of those guys, it's truly an honor. And I I still don't know if I really fully feel, what's going on. And I think once I get out there, it'll be a different story. But very fortunate to be in this situation.
Yeah. Tell us about, you gave us a little bit of your reaction, but, family and, what were some of maybe the messages that you got from some of the family that obviously were proud of you?
Yeah. When I told my wife, and she's like, well, it doesn't surprise me, and my mom's not here anymore, but my mom and dad, sacrificed for so many years to allow me to, go out there and play. And, the one thing that I'll say to everybody and all parents and everything else is my mom and dad never missed a game. There was one game that I had, I think it was my senior year, they had to drive through a snowstorm to get to, and they drove out to all these different places, Colorado, whatever, and so it was a big time family commitment, and I'm just grateful that they were able to see it and be a part of it. I wish my mom would see it now, but I have a feeling she knows about it and whatever, but it was a big deal and very emotional for my family.
A very big deal, and congratulations
Thank
again
you.
on the honor. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right, let's we'll put a bow on the 2022 season. Looking at your schedule here, just as a reminder, some ups and downs, I guess would be the best way you can categorize the season. Yet, a lot of memories made along the way, and a lot of young men that you helped throughout their high school careers to move on to that next stage of their life. Just recap one or two of those memories from last year's season.
Yeah. Well, just seeing the Hudson game at the end was a huge ending, to our season. Where the week before we played WIAA West and they stomped on us pretty good, and we were able to, kind of bounce back 1 week later and play Hudson and do I thought, a phenomenal job to finish the season and really do a good job. So I was proud of our kids and the fight that they had to be able to finish. But you were right. I mean, it was an up and down year. We were really good, and then we were down, and we were, so on and off, we have to be way more consistent. And, but that, like I said, that was a great group of kids to work with last year, and, I miss those guys.
Yeah, I bet. Let's kind of maybe just give one last thank you to those seniors. You can mention them by name, although there's probably too many. But just tell us about the impact and the meaning that those seniors last year had on your program.
Yeah, there's 30 of them, so there's no way I'm going to be able to name them all, because I'll definitely forget somebody. But, that crew being able to come together, they were still part of that COVID stuff and all, everything along those lines. And, they kind of returned it back to normal and everything. So I think when you look at their whole body of work that they put in throughout their junior high years and high school years, they had some challenges, and just like everybody else did, but I was proud of them, how they stuck together and they worked, and they kept on showing the younger kids how it is and whatever. So I feel like this season, because of the work they put in, I feel like we're going to end up being ahead a little bit.
And I will thank them for letting us into their football lives for the year through our weekly series we had with the guys last year. One of my memories was Preston, and we had one of the episodes was kind of his episode. And then we got to see him during the summer play baseball and saw him catch a touchdown in the All-Star game. Yep. So those guys had a real impact with all kinds of things, even in school too.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's begin then to talk about this year's team, and let's talk about the senior group coming in, and just tell us what you expect of those guys. And it's nothing different than what they saw last year and what you asked those seniors to do, but just kind of recap what your expectations of a senior group are.
Yep. Yeah. We've talked about leadership a lot in this off season. We had a group of about 23 guys, so a really good core value type group, core group. Talking about core values and what we thought was important and whatever. And, we actually started a leadership council. And I think there's a core group of guys that really have bought into what we're doing. Talking through the highs and the lows and the goods and, how are we going to handle things and whatever else. So I'm super excited to see where this group goes and how we can handle some of the adversity and how we can get through. Because, I noticed last year, every team's going to go through ups and downs, but how do you handle the adversity? How do you get through it? And super proud of this group of guys meeting since March, just pretty much once a week and talking through a lot of this stuff. So I'll be interested to see after the first couple games how this kind of works into football.
Scrimmage, just had a scrimmage a couple of days ago, one that you hosted. What did you learn about this year's team in that scrimmage?
Yeah, so we were very fortunate in our 5 contact days this summer. We went up against Kimberly. So we had actually our contact days with them. So we had a so-called scrimmage at St. Norbert's College, and we did some of that stuff there. So I felt like we got a little bit of a head. And then we got into the scrimmage. We kind of limited some of our first team guys, and we got into our seconds and thirds. So what did we learn? We learned our depth. We were able to see guys in game situations and how can we fill in, or can we get this guy in this situation and with the varsity team, and being able to fill in was really nice to see. Always seeing Stratford. Stratford's a tough team. Boy, they don't show up with a lot of guys, but they're very tough. Mm-hmm. And they're always a team that'll stick it right to us, and they're not afraid of us. So I like scrimmaging them. Against Eau Claire North, we were able to put our seconds in, and I think they still had their firsts in, so our seconds were able to see some really good competition right away. And then when we see Merrill, it's always nice to get our seconds and thirds in to see where they can compete against another team, game-like situations.
2.5 weeks in, we had the scrimmage, now into game week here, but just kind of recap those last 2.5 weeks and maybe some of those camp battles that have gone on for the last 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, so we've had some quarterback battles. We're probably we are going to end up going with the junior quarterback, Logan George, for the start here on Thursday night. So we're going to see how he does. And Reese and Cohen are not out of the battle. They're just we're just going to start with Logan and see where it goes, and then we're going to see who's most productive. Mm-hmm. And then some of the other battles is just getting our line. Filling in our line from last year. Obviously, we lost some key guys, getting them the game experience that they need. And then we're missing some linebackers from last year, so we're trying to get some of our new guys filling in, seeing that they can get to game speed quickly.
One of the battles I like in training camp are the O-line, D-line, because those guys really get to know each other during practice. How have you seen those two groups develop?
Yeah, it's been really well, and I think starting with Kimberly and all those guys, I think they really kind of showed us maybe how to practice a little bit. And I thought that was really a big takeaway from that camp. So I've been very impressed with our maturity level, not getting too high, not getting too low, not getting too cocky with one another, but really trying to help each other out. I'm starting to see guys talk to each other about, hey, when you take this step, I know you're doing this. So I think it's been a great learning experience, and I think Kimberly taught us some of that. Going to the scrimmage, seeing some of these, Stratford and some of these pretty good teams with teams up front. I'm pretty impressed with our kids and how they're picking things up and making each other better.
Yeah. Let's jump around maybe just a little bit. I want to get into your schedule, but before I do, let's just talk about your conference as a whole. Tough one, one that you're going to forget some of these teams next year. Yeah. We won't talk about that today, but just tell us about the conference and what kind of tests that your opponents put you through year in and year out.
Yeah. Well, there's no question. Obviously, we always have to be ready for Wausau West. Rapids, Point's always going to play us. Marshfield is tough as nails, and they know us, inside and out, and they know pretty much what I'm going to call before I even call it. And those guys do such a great job. And that's the thing about our conference is we've all battled for so many years that we all know each other. So there is no gimme games or anything like that. So we're in a tough conference, and I think it's even going to stay tough even when even after this season and we move to a different conference, because that core group's still going to stay together. So like I said, we know them, they know us, and it's just can the kids play on a Friday night and the best team wins.
Before we begin to preview Green Bay Preble, game on Thursday that is live at Zaleski Sports, just talk about, maybe I'll give you a chance to maybe dabble in some of the names, but as the season goes on, or maybe in these early weeks, who are maybe a couple of those kids that don't have that kind of name recognition right now that you think we might hear about during the season?
I think you're going to hear about our running backs. I think Caden Bankston's back for his senior year. Blake Bankston, his brother. So it's the Bankston brothers in the backfield. Pearson McDonald was pretty much a JV receiver last year, kind of behind Miller and some of those guys. You're going to hear about him. Xavier Edwards, you're going to hear about him. He's a sophomore wide receiver, looking really good right now. I'm excited for him. And Cohen Preby will be a little quarterback, a little bit of some receiver position for us. So you're going to be seeing some guys like that. Dylan Neuendank back in the secondary. You've heard about him. I think he's going to be a pretty dang good player. And Blake Bankston at a corner. Kyle Schmidt up front on the defensive line. And then Oscar Latondras on the O-line. You're going to see the big boys getting after it and doing a good job.
We hear this at all levels, NFL, college, high school, that oftentimes in the beginning of the year the defense a little bit ahead of the offense. How would you rate that quote right now?
Yeah, always. Okay. The defense is always ahead of the offense. It just takes more time to mesh on offense. Defense is, I can't say it's easier, but it just seems to click a little bit faster. It's easier to run to the ball, maybe just a little bit more. Offense, maybe a little more robotic until you get it down in your head. I firmly believe in that. I've seen it a lot of years through NDSU, through high school. But I think once the offense gets caught up in maybe week 1 or 2, it starts to even out.
Defensive guy, right? Where's my key? Okay, got it. I'm good, right?
Yeah.
You move on from that offense. But a lot more complicated
Yeah.
than just knowing my one guy that I got to look at. All right, so we're game week now. We're at Green Bay Preble. Coach, if I didn't know any better, I'd say Green Bay Preble was in your conference, the way that you've had them on the schedule the last number of years. But tell us about the lead up to a Thursday game in an opening week. Now, you've had that before, though, too, so you've had some experience. So how do you kind of arrange the practices to get ready for a Thursday start?
Yeah, we had to go on Sunday, so we started a little bit earlier. You go on Sunday, but then you can hope to maybe give them, some lifting and recovery on Friday, and then maybe you can give them Saturday. But we can't go Sunday off because we have another one on the next week. But I just try to look to maybe can we give them a little bit more of summer. And by going on a Thursday, does that give them a little bit extra time to maybe get up north or something like that one last time or two last times before we go? And a lot of times I'm always worried about our coaching staff. Can we give them as much time off as we can? Because in football, you're starting a month before school starts. I mean, that's really hard on families. I think that's really hard on coaching staffs. There's such a shortage of coaches anyways, but yet, we don't really help out the whole situation by starting August 1st. Because you're asking these teachers and these people to come in and add another month to their contracts and whatever else. So, it's always one thing that I think that we should always reevaluate and not start football so dang early. But I think that's a whole thing that you got to look at in the winter. You got to look at the spring. You got to look at the whole thing. But it's hard to ask coaches and parents to come in. So I kind of like the Thursday night game. It gives us a little bit of extra time to maybe go up north or do something as a family in the summer.
You mentioned the trip to St. Norbert's. Other than that, you've been practicing on your field. You scrimmaged on your game field. Now we take a road trip to start the year. What are some of the strategies that you use to help the guys get ready for a road game to start the season?
Yeah, we were talking a lot about that today, and just the bus ride over and what to be prepared for, and probably getting there and not having all the facilities that we need to get set up, and we're trying to predict a lot of that stuff to happen so they can get mentally set right away. It's not going to fully look at. I think that's the one thing that we've done a little bit better this off season is we really looked at our warm up, and we're able to do our warm up in a small area versus what we've done in the past, where sometimes you needed a gym space and you don't get it, or you need more room on the field and you don't get it, or it's raining on the field or whatever. So we've tried to look at some of that, and our leadership group really gave us some good ideas as how to handle some of that stuff, and how they're actually out there. It's almost a core group of 30 coaches now out there talking to our kids about, hey, this is going to happen. We're going to have to be mentally right for it. So I feel like we're pretty good on it, and I think we'll be ready for it.
I've asked the other coaches this question, so I'll let you take the floor with this one. Tell us about your coaching staff this year.
Yeah, I'm so fortunate to have our coaches. I mean, I led by our defensive side is Matt Kleinschmidt, and Todd Bohm has been around for a long time, DC Everest alumni, and just has coached and being an assistant principal and helping me run the leadership and everything like that. Mike Byer is going to do our secondary this year. Coach Coonan, the older Coach Coonan, retired this last season, so he's going to take a season off. Maybe we'll get him back in the future.
Yeah, okay.
We'll see how it goes.
Hint, Coach.
Yeah. There's my hint to him right now.
Right.
Hopefully he's watching.
Yeah.
And then on the offensive side, we have younger Coach Coonan, who's leading our offense with Coach Jarek, Coach Wanta, and then this year we have Coach Mitchell, who's going to be a quarterbacks coach for us. So we're super excited to have him. And always Coach Franklin, Coach Weber actually came over from Wausau East, and Coach Corvino at our JV level. They do a tremendous job. So we're excited. Got a lot of good guys that want to work together and be a part of it. And I think the sole purpose when we talk to them is they're here for the kids. They don't really have an ego, and they're here to get these kids better and to play football and have a lasting memory.
Last thing I'll talk to you about is community support. Oftentimes I'll give you the floor to advertise, to come out and watch your guys. Your stadium is full almost every game, if not every game. So just tell us how much that means to you and how much that means to a high school student athlete to have that support right there behind them.
Yeah, that's huge. And we're so fortunate to have such a great community to follow us. And that, I got to thank Coach Steph for that, because I think we're still riding that wave. He built a great tradition, and he built a great program, and there's people in this community that just want to support us. And when you look at our stadium, it's usually full, and I think that means a lot to a Friday night, but that's also what keeps our numbers super high in football and why kids want to come out, because they want to be a part of something like that. I wish we could say we're consistently winning. We're not, but they want to be a part of that Friday Night Light feel. And, I think that's what keeps our numbers high. And I'm super grateful to our community administration, but everybody that puts in work, because obviously, the football program isn't really about one guy. It's right. There's so many people that go into the whole thing to make it work and whatever else. So it's really a community event to make this football program work.
Coach Tim Strelo, best of luck this year. Glad you could spend some time with us tonight.
Appreciate
Good luck. You got it. All right, quick commercial break, and as we come back, we'll be talking Newman Catholic Cardinals football with Coach Paul Mikulik right after this on Zaleski Sports.
You know better when you see it.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
But sometimes it's a little harder to tell what better looks like, and you could use a little help.
Thanks, Mom.
Security Health Plan. Everything you need in a health plan. Everything you'd expect from a good neighbor.
When buying or selling land, the biggest decision you make is choosing your representation. Whitetail Properties is the top real estate company for selling hunting land, recreational properties, and farms. Our nationwide network of sportsmen, farmers, and investors offers a great opportunity for you to capitalize on the true market value of your property. In central Wisconsin, Brian Roosh is your local land specialist and is ready to help you get started on all of your property needs.
Save during the summer tire event at Sherrill Tire and Service Centers. Up to $150 back on a select set of 4 Goodyear tires. Buy online or mail-in rebate when you use the Goodyear credit card through June 30th at Sherrill Tire and Service Centers. Find your location at SherrillTire.com.
Good day. My name is Ken Hyman, and welcome to Nasonville Dairy here in central Wisconsin, Marshfield, Wisconsin, as a matter of fact. We make a lot of different cheeses. We make cheddar, Colby, Monterey, Farmer's Cheese, Pizza Cheese, Quesa Blanca, Quesa de Fear, Seco, Parm, Romano, Asiago, Fontina, Feta Caseri, Caflateri, Cafla Graviera, 20 different flavors of Monterey, as well as making Edam, Gouda, and Munster. And the cheese be with you. Thank you for helping Abbey Bank become the most highly recommended community bank.
Thank you to all of our customers for helping us be successful.
Thank you for putting your trust in us.
Thank you for your loyalty.
Thank you for helping us support our communities.
We are grateful for customers like you.
Thank you to all of our customers. We hope to see you soon.
Are Are you looking for a great career opportunity with increased income potential and benefits? Come join the local Auto Select team of dedicated auto service professionals. If you're an experienced auto service advisor, technician, or tire lube tech, Auto Select could be a great fit for you. Auto Select's team of dedicated and experienced service advisors exceed expectations for auto repair and service. Auto Select is the area's best kept secret for tires. We even offer free tire rotations every 6,000 miles with every tire purchase. Go to autoselectonline.com for locations near you.
Been coaching. Okay. All right, back here to Wiggly Field in Schofield. Again, Wiggly Field, our host here today. Pizza. I'm halfway through this piece here. Got homemade pizza, burgers, appetizers, cold drinks here at Wiggly Field. Everything you want. Come on down to Wiggly Field 7 days a week. And we're having a great time here. Again, folks, my name is Jason Zaleski. Thanks for watching the 2023 High School Coaches Football Show. We are joined now by Newman Catholic Cardinals head football coach Paul Micklig. Paul, before we get started, just remind our audience, how many years you've been coaching football, and what keeps you coming back every year?
Yeah, I had to think about it for a while.
Yeah.
I was listening to Tim on the way over, and
yeah.
I think it's 22 as the head coach. So it's been. I know Matt was talking about being feeling old, but you start putting 22 on there, and then a couple years before that I was assistant coach. But yeah, so 22 as the head coach, and every time. The calendar turns and you start with a new group, and it's not about football itself. I coach other sports, and having the opportunity to coach kids and hopefully be a part in their life and give them something to remember is a key thing. Winning and losing, they come and go, but everything around it is the most important part when it comes to high school athletics.
We're going to talk a little bit about last year's team and a state championship, but before I do, let's just talk about the last number of years and the success that you have had. How do you remember that, and what do you attribute that to?
Is winning better than losing? Yes, there's not a doubt about that. But I've been on both spectrums and both sides of it, and what really was the best thing about all of this is the enjoyment that you get with these kids and how good a football they actually have been playing for numerous years now. They're playing. We had 4 turnovers last year, for example. I mean, I don't care what you're doing, but to have 4 turnovers through a whole season, you're doing something well with the football. And those little things like that is that these guys, they took the standard and they bumped it up, and they wanted to play perfect football, which is impossible, but they wanted to get as close as possible to it, and I think they did. And being, I think, 61-2 over the last 6 years, I think it is. And even before that, with 11 man, we were getting, we were 0-9 the first, I think, a record, my first 4 or 5 years, whatever it was 2-34. It was a struggle. I mean, to get kids out at that time, and we had a school of 225 at the time. Yeah. And so the whole journey has been, these 22 years though has gone like this. Yeah. And to see what we have done and what we've accomplished together as a program, and what we've become, and the relationships we have with these kids when they're adults now. I got a lot of guys that are not too far behind me. That is what it's all about, and to see us execute, like I said, as we kept on going and seeing how high a level we were executing last year specifically has tremendous.
Let's talk about last year's team, and I don't think we can start without mentioning Connor Kroc from last year's team. He was our male athlete of the year here at Zaleski Sports, champion football player, champion basketball player. He's a top 3 golfer in the state. It seems like anything he would do, he would be good at. Just talk about what he meant to your program in particular. We'll talk about the rest of it, but let's start with Connor.
I mean, and there's a kid that, I'll be honest with you, he walked in freshman year, and I don't think you would have thought that he was something that was, the next coming of that athlete. That young man worked for everything he got. And he, in the weight room, I remember being at WIAA East his freshman year. It was a 7-on-7 tournament that they were hosting. We were playing Egder and Rice Lake and these schools, and Connor's out there, and he's a little freshman playing D-back, and he looks like he's a lost puppy dog, So it wasn't like he just came in there and he earned everything. He played JV his freshman, sophomore year, and he got better. And by the time he was a senior, I mean, he was running the show, both offensively and defensively, and he knew exactly. I mean, he's a smart kid, a 4.0 kind of kid, and so he can do it physically, he can do it mentally. He knew what needed to be done in every situation. Tremendous athlete, like you said. Whatever you could do. I wish he was off for track. He would have been good in track.
I will say this: the older sister Kenzie probably takes him in a cage match. I'll say it. Let's talk. Tell me about your other seniors on last year's team and how they contributed to the championship season.
Yeah, I mean, for an eight-man team, we lose 10 seniors, which we did. That's a big blow, obviously, to our numbers. And those 10 seniors, Connor being number one with there, and you got Thomas Bates, Eli Gustafson, Wyatt Gasper, Damian Ledecky, Ben Hardesty, Matthew Hamilton, James Bates, all, and I don't know if I got 10 there. I'm pretty close, I think. If I missed somebody, I apologize.
We can come back to it if we have to. You'll think of it later.
Well, I'll think of it later. I guess I could just went and started a rotation because they all started. In some form or fashion for us. And what they did. As a whole, Thomas Bates coming back from ACL injury last year to do what he did and be part of 2 state championship teams, and had a good track season, good all-star game, and all those things. And Eli, same thing, Gustafson, and Owen Sullivan. There's another one. I'm up to 9. I'm up to 9. Okay. He was a beast at center. I mean, I don't think I had a center in 20 years that. Technical wise was as good as sound as he was, and Jackson Fender. That's number. There we go. Now we got the receiver. I was going through my starting rotation on there, and these kids. He came out last year for the first time, and made plays. And anytime we need plays to be made, these kids would make plays during the course of the game or the season, whatever it was. But and I think honestly, they truly love coming out to practice, and that's not an easy thing to do when it's a dog days of whatever. They loved coming out to practice, and when the season was over, that was the toughest part, was that they didn't come back. They weren't being able to practice again, and when you have that kind of group, you're going to have a pretty good, successful season.
Let's begin to preview the 2023 edition of the Newman Cardinals. You've got a week and a half of practice under your belt. What are some of the early impressions of your guys on the football field? What was impressive, we have a 7-on-7 league that DC Everest holds on Sunday nights that we go over to, and the first time we went over there, this we had to play Stevens Point, and I'm thinking to myself, what are we gonna, we're playing Stevens Point, and we got a bunch of kids here that never played varsity football to go against them, and we're a little shell shocked, and to say the least, and we've been shell shocked right away all the time. But as the summer got on, they got better, with the league and with going to camps and going to a tournament down in Oshkosh, and they started making a name for themselves. And so when we started practice, I'm not going to lie, it's kind of like being a 46-year-old dad again, and you thought you're done changing diapers, and you're not. You're going back, and you're going back to the basics. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we're doing. And but I'll tell you, these kids have picked it up. And by yesterday, I thought they came back after the Sunday off, and they had a real good practice. And I'm seeing where the standard's supposed to be set with execution, and that's what we're looking for, and they're getting that. We can handle things like not being the biggest guy out there, whatever the case might be, but putting the ball on the ground, catching the ball, making sure we catch everything, finishing our blocks, those are things that we can control, and I think we've been doing that. Tell us about maybe some of those position battles. You've had just a week and a half in here, but whether it's O-line, D-line, or running back, linebacker. Tell us about some of those battles that you've seen so far this year.
Yeah, I mean, and the funny thing is, when I was listening to those guys too on the way over, and they were saying that stuff, and ours is more of, instead of the battle of putting them in the right spots and making sure that we have the guys and we coach them up into that correct spots on that, and. Tyler Ackerman, who played last year for us in the state championship game, he started all year outside linebacker, and then he started at a wide position at the beginning of the year, and he moved to our guard. He's our starting quarterback. I mean, he played JV quarterback when he was younger, doing a heck of a job. He running the ball, throwing the ball. He's been lights out with knowing what's going on. We're looking at our line. It doesn't matter if you're playing 8-man or 11-man. We don't have many guys at the line position, and we got to find those guys that can block. Because if you can't block, I don't really care what you're playing. You're not going to be successful. And right now, I feel that we're getting. Iron sharpens iron, and we're starting to get better on that offensive line. And Carson Callow and Greg Zabrowski is doing little things. Evan Graining, Jed Bloom. I just want to get some names out there that these guys are fighting for spots and fighting to get into that rotation and making sure they get some playing time. Our skill position players: Aiden Spicala, Carson Rice, Quincy Fender. These guys have been doing a great job all summer. And you can see it coming out during the course of the practice that they've been doing an awesome job with that. And it's just one day at a time kind of thing. Like I said, it's not as battles. It's more of we got to make sure that we coach these guys up and we get these guys better from day to day.
You heard me ask the other coaches this, so you know this one's coming. Senior leadership, obviously a big part. You had the big group last year. What do you expect of those guys? What should their role be on the team, being more than just on the team?
Correct. I mean, that's you go as far as your leaders go. Sometimes it depends on, obviously if you're talking about a bigger school, you're talking about they probably have 20 guys that are seniors, or 30 guys that are fighting for those spots. I'm more of let's get the best leaders that we have, and sometimes they might be juniors. But we have 4 seniors that have been doing a great job, and I feel that they set the tone of what they want out of their season. It's their year. This is their year. This is their opportunity. And what do they want? And all 4 of those guys, Matthew Meyer in the backfield, Jed Bloom on the line, Sam Beaumont on both lines, and Aiden Spicala at the receiver and D-back, have been doing a great job of leading. But that junior class has to lead. We're a small school. We got to get the next group up, and they got to be ready to go. And that's what they're doing. But those 4 seniors have been doing everything that I've asked, and they've done it during the course of the summer. We go to these 7-on-7 things, and sometimes I think these guys go to me thinking, why are these guys in 7? Because we'll have our whole team there. We'll have 15 guys there, and we'll have all the whole team there. These guys are a whole team. Yeah. This is because they want to be there. They want to get better. They want to play, and they want to cheer on their guys. And those are the kinds of things that I'm seeing. Coach Sins always says that tradition never graduates, and I don't forget that because he's right. Those things carry over from class to class.
Got 11 days and 3 Lakes comes to town. Let us inside a little bit on how you begin to organize these next week and a half of practices to begin to ramp up for that season opener.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have our next couple of practices. We have our scrimmage on Saturday, and then basically we'll watch our film that day. Break our film down, and those battles that we're talking about is they will most of the time during the scrimmage they will separate themselves, those kinds of battles, and so we'll work on us on Saturday afternoon, and then Sunday we'll come back. 3 Lakes scrimmages on Saturday too, so we'll come back on Sunday and we'll put in a game plan on Sunday, and then Monday we will start with our game week preparation. Now, being on a Saturday, I personally like Saturday games, maybe because I get to be on TV too. We get to be on TV, right?
That's true.
On there, that's a true story. But it makes for a longer week, and I think that the more we have time to prepare, I know that they have more time to prepare too, but I just feel that we do a good job of getting that going. So Monday we will have a light practice going into the week. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday will be full go, and we will have our new stuff in on Tuesday offensively. And by Friday we will have our pregame, and by that time we should be sharp as a knife, so to speak. So that's kind of how we go through our week, and there's nothing like it. Last Sunday I'm painting lines, and I'm telling my wife, when we get home that day, we're no more Sundays. I mean, this is how it goes. I'm saying we won't see you for a couple months, and that's on Sunday nights, and that's. I've been doing this for 22 years, and you start getting into a pattern of how you do things and how You don't really think about days of the week. You literally go on Sunday is this day, Monday is this day, Tuesday is install day, Wednesday, and Friday is the prep day, and then Saturday is the game. I mean, and that's kind of how you kind of go through the fall season, and it's an exciting time.
You're right. It's 2-3 months of deer camp, essentially, right?
Yep.
We're in there, and we don't go out there. Coaching staff, tell us about the guys you have helping you out.
Great guys. I got defense coordinator. Carl Thorpe has been with me for 21 of those 22 years. He's been as a defensive coordinator, and he does a great job with it, and just is there every second that you can, he does stuff before we start meeting on Sunday to make sure that our life is a little easier on Sunday. His prep work is all there. He was talking to me this afternoon about listening to something and getting it ready, and he's always being proactive with that stuff. And as a head coach, you got a lot of other stuff going on, so to have somebody that takes care of all the little things with you, he's a great, and he just got married that's past summer, so that was a good thing, and for him. And then Joe Ackerman, who is co-AD with me, now will be. He does our JV. He's on the offense. He does offense, defense, but he does the running backs, or the receivers and D-backs. And Nate Brill, who's a graduate of Newman. Both of these guys, Joe's been with me probably like 7 years. Nate played with me, played for me back in 2016 was his last year, and he's back here working, and he's doing it for the last couple of years. And he's done a great job with the line. He was great when he played for me, and he does an awesome job with the line. Again, I'm not saying I can't coach the line, but obviously, when you have people in these positions, I let them coach and I let them do their job, and so I can work on everything else.
Lastly, we'll wrap up with community support. The moms, dads are going to be there. There's no doubt about that. Your home games on Saturday, I think, are a great invitation for the rest of the community to come out and watch your team play football. These high school student athletes today are going to be members of our community tomorrow. So remind everybody why it's important to come and support these teenage boys. I mean,
if you look at how society's working out here, and some of the times, there's got to be a reason, and there's got to be a love, a passion. I don't care what you do. There's got to be a purpose to wake up in the morning. And I'm not saying football is the purpose. I'm saying is you better have something. I'm hoping that your purpose is not waking up and playing video games, because I don't want to see those people when I'm in an old age home pushing me around. So we have to have a purpose. These kids have to have a purpose. And right now, this group, high school athletics, it gives them a purpose. It gives them how to develop a lot of skills that you don't learn on a daily basis, with working with a team, working with somebody else, working together, communication instead of the phone. And there's so many things that athletics, not just football, offers, and they put a lot of time into it. These kids, all of them, it doesn't matter if it's Newman or any of East, West, Evers, they all do. And to have that opportunity to do that and to see them and support them, it's a huge thing. And I think WIAA does a real good job of that, and I'm proud to say I am from WIAA.
The human psychology of it, people seem to respond when they're supported as a group. So we look forward to that, Coach. Thanks so much. Best of luck this season.
Thank you very much.
Right? We look forward to it all. Guys, that'll wrap up our 2023 High School Coaches Football Show. Thanks to all of our coaches for spending time with us today, and get out to the stadiums and watch these kids play football all year long. And have a great time doing it, guys. Have a great night, everybody.